most of these funds to get a lot of things done. And anyway, we just had a beautiful walk today with my wife and I over by Nokomis, and it was kind of bittersweet. It was such a warm day, which is not supposed to be this warm right now, but it was very nice to enjoy it. Yeah.
We will take these blessings as they come. Yeah.
Jerell, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Jerell, you can unmute.
Sure. I'm Jerell Perry. I'm also a member of the Corcoran neighborhood, Lake and Hiawatha, right where I am, so I must not be too far from you. But just excited about all the progress that's already been made thus far. And I'm like you cited to Build Back Better, just knowing that there's so many more investments that are yet to come. So I'm just excited to see what progress we have yet to make. I have two beautiful little girls. And that is the motivation for most of my work. So again, I'm glad to be able to do whatever I can to secure their future and the sustainability of our environment, regardless of what that looks like. So thank you all for having me.
It was a pleasure meeting you during the mayoral and candidates forums.
Oh yeah, he was part of our candidate forums. And then Jerell, can you put your email in there? Because I want to invite you to our 9th Ward meetup on Minneapolis Green New Deal. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Great, yeah. And then Jesse, hello there.
Hi, so I'm Jesse. I work at All Energy Solar. So I actually spoke with Russell a few weeks ago, and he invited me to this forum to kind of share what All Energy has to offer. So we went ahead, got approved to join in, and that's that.
Excellent, welcome. You guys have your huge headquarters right off of Snelling and 94 there. It's kind of fun to visit. Is that where you guys are still at?
It's off of Energy Drive.
Oh, Energy Drive, okay. Okay,
Yep.
Great, nice. And then we have, let's see, Dan.
Hi, everybody. Dan O'Connell, also with All Energy Solar. I'm the regional sales manager covering parts of Minnesota. Jesse works for me. This is our first time with the group. We're excited to learn about this group and what they do. And certainly if we can answer any questions about solar or, you know, any insight we might provide as to what's happening with solar incentives around the state, with some of the utilities, we're happy to share that. Not overly prepared tonight, to be honest with you. You know, like I said, with it being our first meeting, we weren't sure what you guys might want to know, but anything we can answer tonight, I'll be sure to get answers for you.
Okay.
Nice to meet everyone, and thank you for including us.
Yeah. And let's see, I guess, Russell, why did you say that? What's getting you motivated too?
Well, I just came back from a conference with the climate lobby 2 weekends ago now. And that was, they had a very well put together program. Saturday was very informal and informational, and I got to meet a lot of really well-informed individuals that are on the front lines with the climate change. And we will be continuing these discussions, climate change discussions, on a monthly basis as we go through the rest of the year. Alliance for Sustainability, Sean's the head of that organization.
I'm actually now with Resilient Cities and Communities. We used to be, now we got spun off to work with the Cities on Climate Solutions. So I'll put in my contact info for everybody. Yeah.
Very good. So we had a really good meeting the Monday following the climate lobby conference, and that was a very strong meeting with a significant amount of attendees. So good stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, the meeting you're referring to is our meetup with a lot of the community groups in the suburbs on how to team up with their counties on climate action. So, with all energy solar active all across the metro, there's, a huge amount of rooftops we still need to work on. And so, especially in the commercial area, it's a huge, need.
We have another attendee, AJ Wade.
Oh,
Yeah, I
hello,
was already
AJ.
on
I
the-
think you ran for mayor, right?
Yes.
Yes, I did. I ran. I was on the line earlier. My phone died, so I just pulled it in the charger.
Welcome, AJ. What's getting you motivated nowadays with climate solutions?
Yeah. So I mean, I obviously I got actually reached out to. I think somebody sent me the text, so I was part of the group there. But I'm also the executive director of the Cedar Riverside Neighborhood Association, Community Council specifically. So just, better familiarizing myself with local, I would say work and activities here is obviously something that's very important, but want to be involved. And I'll send a disclaimer quickly. I mean, I'm not the most enlightened on climate change.
I understand. It's a good idea. Yeah, go ahead.
No problem. We welcome everybody in. So I just wanted to share with folks, there's a couple other movements happening related to climate solutions in Minneapolis. And one of them is MN 350 working with the Community Power Network. And they're going to be having a big meetup on climate solutions coming up the November 30th. They're going to be meeting with all the new city council members in ward meetups. And so I'll just put that link in the chat box here. They'll be trying to move ahead many different aspects of climate solutions in terms of buildings, efficiency, renewables, green jobs, climate adaptation. And so it's going to be a great opportunity with MN 350 coming up in about a week here. Did anybody follow Kate Canuth's campaign? She did a lot in terms of putting forward a Green New Deal for Minneapolis. And so now Minneapolis, MN 350 is trying to help move many of those ideas forward. We have two of the candidates here that ran for mayor. So maybe they could share a bit about any other things they would love to see happen in 2022 with the city.
I guess I could share something. One of my biggest things, and I worked with Knuth and Robert Carney both in talking about hydrogen power. Hydrogen power is a very big commodity in Texas as well as California right now. We were looking at partnerships with Toyota, bringing the Toyota Mirai to the city of Minneapolis, which is completely hydrogen powered. So it emits zero CO2 emissions. Not only that, it pulls pollutants out of the air. So they were calling it minus zero emissions. So just trying to move forward on things like that. Again, Texas is doing it, California is doing it. There's no reason that Minneapolis could not do it. And even start manufacturing the vehicles here as well, bringing thousands of union living wage paying jobs to the city of Minneapolis. That's something that Mayor Fry said that he's willing to work on going forward. So hopefully he makes a reality of that commitment. So maybe it's something you guys can look into. And if it's something that you agree with, you can help expedite that process, because I believe the city of Minneapolis would definitely benefit from us moving forward on that.
Excellent, thank you. I know we do have one electric bus manufacturer in St. Cloud. And so that they could benefit a lot from the, in the Green New Deal on electrification of vehicles. And I'm wondering with our friends from All Energy Solar, if you've been tracking any of the things that are in the infrastructure bill or in the Build Back Better bill related to things that might relate to solar and electrification of buses.
Sure. I can touch on it a little bit. I can certainly speak to the solar part of the bill. Personally, I've been telling my sales team, and I think my position has been, don't get too optimistic about the Build Better Back bill. That's the one that would really benefit the solar industry more than the infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's a couple things in there that would be beneficial, at least in the short term. One would be the raising of the federal tax incentive back to 30%. Right now, it's scheduled to go down in 2023 and then go away in 2024. And this would bring it back to 30%, which would be a nice boost. The idea behind that is certainly actually not just to drive people going solar, but also production of the solar panels. So the idea would be that increase in the tax incentive could actually offset some of the additional cost from bringing some of those jobs here or expanding some of the plants that are here. Minnesota has a plant in northern Minnesota has a plant that makes solar panels. They just went through a large expansion, or in the process of going through a large expansion. LG is a company that we work with pretty closely, and they have a large facility down in Alabama, and that's where we get a lot of our panels from. They could possibly see some expansion of that plant through the Build Back Better plan, but they actually have some capacity there, so it's hard to say how much it would impact them. Certainly, obviously, even though it's not right in our realm, most of what we do is residential. Certainly, we do some commercial, but the utility scale solar that could come with the Build Back Better plan could be beneficial overall, because it would certainly help kind of destroy some of these myths of just what solar can do. I mean, it really is a viable option. More and more utilities are going to that option, and I think the expansion of these utility scale solar projects just helps the industry from a PR point of view.
And then
as well as obviously some economies of scale.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's totally great. I'm wondering with like some of the investment in research in terms of energy storage and solar and how that would tie in, does it look like if they get the climate part of the Build Back Better, the $500 billion, would it also kind of ramp up research on storage and things?
I think to an extent it will, because as more utility scale solar comes online, how that gets stored is a big part of this. What's interesting, there's a lot of different approaches to batteries, traditional storage, and we're already seeing some different options coming to the market. To me, and I can't speak too much to this because it's so outside of what we normally do, but some of the storage outside of what we typically think of, outside of batteries, is actually interesting. I can't say that I would endorse it at this point, but essentially ways of storing water underground, much like you would a dam, as a way to store energy, doing more things with concrete for storing energy. It's a lot more than what people think of when they just think of batteries. And I think you'll see a lot more focus on batteries in general for home use, for business use, even for utility scale use, but then also some of these, different things besides battery, we'll phrase it that way. I will say this, I mean, we've said as an industry, and I was talking to someone at a conference not too long ago, batteries and storage are where the leaps and bounds are going to happen when it comes to the solar industry. The panels are what they are for the most part, and they'll keep making them incrementally better, but storage is where the breakthroughs are going to come. We just don't really know what those are going to look like yet. And my guess is it won't be a one solution.
I'll
Then
kind
we
of
had
chime
one
in
of
a
your,
little bit.
energy people from All Energy Solar was part of the Green Job Summit last Friday. And I'll go ahead. I mean, you're going to talk, Jesse. Go for it. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I just wanted to point out too that the research and development, at least I feel, is really focused right now on the battery part of the storage. Not so much just because of the solar industry, but mainly because of electric vehicles and the push for that to happen. So as that technology increases, so will the storage for solar. But then there is that out of the box thinking about that Dan was touching on with, putting it into the concrete pads of new homes and things like that.
Fantastic. And so, if these tax credits can keep, get going some more, and Minneapolis has a climate action plan, they're going to update, and Hennepin County has a climate action plan. So one of the things that your person from All Energy Solar was talking about is how you get new people on board, hiring new staff, and trying to deal with the demand for people working in the solar industry. And so I'm curious if you see any other gaps like related to job training, and there's going to be some job training money in the infrastructure bill, I think. And so what other areas you'd like to see happening, like in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm still fairly new to All Energy and the solar industry in general, but there's a great training center on the north side that I've yet to visit and kind of reach out to. But like so many people, we have needs from inside salespeople to master electricians, and installers, electricians, warehouse people, you name it, salespeople. It's not as challenging from a sales point of view in Minnesota as we see in some other states, just because it's an industry that's very attractive to people. This was not my background, but when I saw the opportunity to work for All Energy Solar and get in the solar, it was something that really just kind of called to me, which is a little surprising to me, but I'm certainly glad that I answered that call, if you will. There's a great opportunity for job growth here. We just, I think, need a little bit of a coordinated effort with, specialized training centers or just in general trades where we can, gear people towards this as a viable career opportunity, and more than viable, and actually very lucrative career opportunity with great opportunities for advancement. We hire a number of people who are working their way, and I don't know all the details on this, so I'll be upfront on that. But we hire a number of people who aren't master electricians yet, but do get, working through that process, the apprenticeship process. I think we have people who are journeymen but haven't gotten their master electrician certificate yet, and we'll help with the training and certainly provide on-the-job training that will help them get to that level, which is a fantastic accomplishment for somebody that can set them up with a good job for life.
Excellent.
Not just in the solar industry.
And then there's the other issue of all the weatherization dollars that might be coming through in Build Back Better. And so there's a new training program with Center for Energy Environment related to the weatherization installation and things. So they're going to try to ramp that up more with CenterPoint. I know that it's a bit easier to get involved with that field as a small business because you don't have to have an electrician that's a certified electrician on board to do weatherization. So I'm curious, Russell, if you have any other thoughts about, gaps or things that should be worked on related to small business development and job training and all that with different areas of green jobs.
Well, I believe that Dan was probably talking about the Summit Academy. Does that sound familiar, Dan?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. They've had really excellent ongoing programs for a great many years out of that academy, and they are producing a lot of good opportunity for the community, as well as bringing people into these green jobs programs. So they're a good facility.
If any of you know of young people that would like to give feedback to Hennepin County about what they should do about grade jump trading with their federal funds, they have a survey out from the Hennepin County, and I'll send that out to you guys in the link here. Because I'm so excited about the climate action plan for Hennepin County, because it has 1 out of every 5 people in the state live in Hennepin County. So it's going to make a huge difference for all these things. So anyway, here's the survey for the grade jump training for youth from the Hennepin County. In case anybody knows folks who should fill out that survey. And I'm going to be having a meeting coming up on December 2nd, either at 1 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. related to the new Build Back Better funding, with updates from Senator Tina Smith's aide and how to help work with our counties to make the most of those funds. So I'm just putting in that link into the chat box here. And then, so Russell, I'm wondering, what are the other type of people you want to have start jumping on these calls in the future, and who else should we try to reach out to join these calls?
Yes, well, Mayor Fry, Jacob Fry, has agreed that, or has agreed to join us during the month of January, rather. And so we are in the process of getting that program ready in terms of the key individuals that would be engaging in that program. Net Impact has just put out our first newsletter as of last Thursday. The first newsletter that we have had since the beginning of the pandemic. Net Impact has been around for a good many years, going back to, I know my first involvement with them was 2010, and this is the first sustaining gap that has taken place. The COVID really took a toll on that, on a lot of organizations. And then Responsible Minnesota Business. We have been around since I have been on the board there since 2001. And Sean, you know that we have been engaged and co-hosted a good many events together through the years. And so that organization as well has been quieted during even just prior to that as well. So Net Impact is just beginning their process of hosting programs again. This is really the first venture back with the, as I said, with the newsletter. And Minnesota Business Global Community will be having a one of these climate discussion programs on a monthly basis going forward. We have conversations ongoing with some prominent authors in the field that will be addressing the future programs. And then we will be also hosting in person networking events, as long as we keep the COVID experience quiet. And those will be beginning also come January. And we are hosting our fireside chats, which will have discussions on the economic recovery as well as these climate change discussions, trying to establish some very practical, actionable steps that we can bring back to our communities, both business and public.
Wonderful. Yeah, there isn't, we have the Minneapolis Area Chamber of Commerce and like the Northeast Chamber of Commerce, and there's a bit of a chamber up on West Broadway. So that would be something to tie into, is work with the Minneapolis Chamber. That they're trying to reach out to businesses on energy efficiency and solar. They've been doing it along Lake Street, and then now they're trying to bring it up in the Northeast and North Minneapolis. So I will put in the chat box the person from the Minneapolis Chamber who's working on that, which would be great to kind of partner with them on some of this business outreach. And then for me, the vision with RCC is we're going to be having cities and counties teaming up to work on their climate goals together. So from that point of view, we're going to be having a Minneapolis cluster, like a southern Hennepin County with Bloomington, Richfield, Eden Prairie, the west area, then the northwest area. And then trying to have action teams on, commercial buildings, efficient, residential buildings, and solar and adaptation and transportation. So Dan and Jesse, I'll let you guys know about our energy work group. And then with Jerry, since you're in Jerell, you're in Ward 9 here, I'll let you know about the next meeting we're going to have with our new council member, Jason Chavez, on the Minneapolis Green New Deal. If any of you would like to kind of contribute ideas toward what should be in the Minneapolis Green New Deal, you could send ideas to the organizer that's working on it, Ula, who's with Listen with MN350. So if you have some ideas of what should be in the Minneapolis Green New Deal, just send them to Ula. And the other big one that's going to be happening is trying to get the Public Utilities Commission to pass inclusive financing with to be able to enable renters to make more advantage of energy efficiency. So that's the that's on the Community Power website related to the inclusive financing. And then I'm thinking I'm going to need to, kind of my voice is getting a bit hoarse here, so I think I should probably head out here and maybe drink some hot tea. But if anybody wants to stick around and discuss things more, you can, I'm sure you can moderate things here. Russell.
Yes.
So anyway, it's super great to meet you all, and I'll keep in touch via email on some of these things with our teaming up with Hennepin County and the suburbs here. So,
well, thank you very much, Sean. We
okay.
Greatly appreciate your attendance and all that you bring to the table. And we'll make sure that the rest of you get Sean's information.
I did put it in the chat box, so if you save the chat box, you'll have my info.
Yeah.
As well as Jerry's, and then Jesse and Dan's, their info in there too. So
if I may add one thing before you go,
yeah,
Sean,
sure, yeah.
a couple of things. First, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Oh yeah.
But we do have a policy team at All Energy Solar who can certainly help with things. So if you do have particular policy initiatives that you might want our position on, or something we might be able to help with, we do have people who can do that. I don't know who is at the Ramsey County event that that you spoke of, but we've got Brandon Charbonneau, who's one of our salespeople, and Sarah Weeby are both big into the policy. Certainly our company is active at the state level. Michael Allen, the owner, we have some other names. So, I mean, certainly if there's something that you're interested in, I mean, it's something I can pass on to people and see if we're already in the works or who we might be talking to about something. And, be happy to try to coordinate those efforts.
Yeah, Sarah Weeby was the one on the call on Friday.
Okay.
And it was very dynamic. They had a number of different policy experts, and then they had all the unions,
Yep.
all different unions related to construction, electricians, pipe fitters. So it was an amazing thing. And so eventually they're going to post the video of it on that web link I shared. But
Okay.
Sarah did a great job, and I think so. For right now, it's just mainly trying to get the citizen leaders and the environmental commissions to be aware of how the federal money is going to start coming through,
Sure.
and then how to be aware of how their cities and counties are spending the American Rescue Plan money, the infrastructure money, and then eventually, like for example, with weatherization, we're just barely scratching the surface in terms of all the houses that need to be weatherized. And so if we pass this inclusive financing docket with MNPUC, that would free up 50 million in funding that could be for on-bill repayment for renters so that they can make improvements without the improvement would stay with the property. And so would the assessment. So if they move to a new property, the new tenant would pay off the energy improvements. So it's a bit of a challenge with a split incentive between owners and renters that we're trying to get at. So that's in that link there with the inclusive financing, but it's going to be coming up in January with the PUC. And then related to solar, eventually we want to try to have the solar garden rule changed so that it doesn't have to be a contiguous county, because there's such a limit to the amount of solar gardens that could be available for the Twin Cities. And so if we could get rid of that rule that you had to be in an adjacent county, it would help out a lot, I think. So.
Yeah, and I do know we've been working with people at the state level on the solar garden rules, and we certainly want to see changes there as well. So it's a process, but I know we do have some very good support on some of these initiatives at the state level.
Excellent, thank you. So I'll be I can touch base with Brandon and Sarah on that stuff too.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you. All right, goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Sean.
Yeah. Jess or Dan, would you like to speak into any of the new grants that are available locally for installation and getting people started on solar?
Do you want to take that one, Jesse? Are you familiar with it?
I can take it a little bit. So I'll kind of just cover the residential side if you want to take the commercial side of it. Right now the tax credit that you get back is 26% of the total cost of your project. So that's really what's been making it affordable to everybody. But more than that even is just the different financial options that you can use for financing the systems. Over the past 2 years, the solar industry in Minnesota has grown by 37% a year. So the amount of systems going in since 2019 is just astronomical. You look at our business at All Energy, we've got, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but close to 6,000 installed jobs by the end of this year. And we've been in business since 2009. Well, at the start of this year, we had 5,000 installed jobs. So you can see just what this year has brought to the table and how much that curve is going up. With that new bill, if the incentive goes back to 30%, that's going to really improve the solar industry here in Minnesota, as far as more and more units getting put on homes and businesses. The nice thing on the commercial side, and Dan will talk to this in a little bit, is the fact that you can use advanced depreciation on that system and get all of that tax break in 1 year. Am I missing anything there, Dan?
No, I'd say that's pretty good. As far as if you specific grants, it's hard to say, what exactly is available. A lot of that is being finalized. So like last year, trying to think though, right? When I say last year, I'm already looking ahead to next year, but like we did a lot of USDA grants, which obviously would be more in outstate Minnesota. There's a green cost share program in Minneapolis that was, somewhat supportive. A lot of what we've seen driving growth on the commercial side in Minnesota is actually just the Excel Solar Rewards program. Again, a bit of a love-hate relationship when it comes to the utilities and their rebates. But for commercial, next year it's going to be 3 cents per kilowatt hour produced, and then an upfront incentive of 50 cents per watt installed. So, I mean, that really can bring down some significant costs. Combine that with the 26% tax credit for companies and then the accelerated depreciation, they can easily see, up to 50% of the cost sometimes, being essentially written off or covered by somebody else, which can be substantial for commercial. Obviously, commercial creates a great opportunity because we do have typically large facilities, lots of room for solar panels on the roof, but also lots of production. So it's just a question of how much you can offset. REAP grants have been a good thing. That's a good point, Jesse. We've got some really good commercial projects going in. One that will happen next year that we're involved with is, I think it's called 7 Points now. Most of us know as Calhoun Square. They're going solar. That's going to be a huge project. So right there in the city, that's a great one. And I think that'll go probably spring of next year. So there's some real exciting things going on with the commercial side. What is interesting with commercial too, and I don't want to take too much time on this, but just a lot of companies are trying to do what they can do. So they may not be able to offset all their use, which is typically what a residential customer is going to want. But if they can offset 20, 30, 50%, a lot of times they'll move forward with the project just because they are doing what they can do. Any questions on that?
Jerry or AJ, or any questions? You can feel free to unmute if you choose to.
I think the one question I would have is like, Dan, like as far as the gardens, you guys have any information as into like any incentives for businesses, whether it be maybe commercial, like rooftop gardens? Are there any programs that offer incentives for businesses, even if they're not opting in themselves, to offer that space to create a garden for maybe surrounding commercial or residential units?
We have seen some of that. I actually live in Eden Prairie, and I know the community center did that a while back, and we're adding another facility. Is it City Hall that I think is going to do the same thing? Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of widespread use on that. I think at this point, and I can't speak as knowledgeably as on this as I would like, I think there gets in some concerns on liability when it comes to the company, that would house the solar garden. It's less of an issue with the city facilities where we've seen a lot of this. It's something we would like to see more of. I'm just not sure what's going to, drive that change where we could use more commercial properties for that purpose.
Okay.
But it's something I
Thank
can
you
certainly
very much.
follow up on.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think part of that too is a lot of those places are done by nonprofits that are going to be really environmentally focused. The issue with that is they're not going to be able to take advantage of the tax breaks and tax credit benefits that come along with going green. I think what would be super important is being able to educate the businesses on what those tax breaks and benefits would be by them to go solar as not being a nonprofit organization. Wouldn't you say, Dan?
Yeah, I think that could be a challenge.
And
Anything else?
And so, speaking into that point, do you have plans on managing some of those education points, bringing them the awareness to those businesses, or?
Yeah, we have a commercial team who certainly is involved in that a little more than we are, but they are looking at, you know, getting the word out and looking for creative solutions to utilize the potential of those rooftops. Excuse me.
Okay, and see, my thing, I was asking specifically, I'm glad that you brought that up, specifically for nonprofits, because there's about 7 churches in the area that were asking about stuff like that. So are you saying that there is no incentive for nonprofits to host a garden, or just none that you know of?
There's less incentive because they can't take the tax credit.
Okay.
It's a strange thing with churches, but what we often see people do, and I am not a lawyer or an accountant, but I know it happens, and I think it's, you know, within the parameters of what the tax credit allows. What will happen with churches a lot of times, and this is different than a solar garden, obviously, but if a church just wants to go solar, a lot of times someone will actually buy the system for the church and then gift it to the church, and then someone will take advantage of it. The solar garden, again, we'd have to figure out, and I don't know all the details on it. I'll get some more information out to you. Is, you know, what are the parameters? What's allowed as far as where someone can have them? What gets into an issue with ownership, liability, things of that nature, and how they handle that. I just can't speak to it well enough. Obviously, the biggest provider in the state is Excel. They can be very tricky on what they'll allow, but I'd have to get specifics on it. But I'd be happy to look into that for you and see. I copied your email from earlier, and just see if there's a way that that a church could go do a solar garden, and what the parameters would be like, what the requirements are.
Sounds good. I would appreciate that very much, Dan. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, okie dokie. We had expectation of a few more people here that were going to speak directly, that have not come in. And so if there are no further questions, and you are all able to have a line of communication through your emails. I am comfortable, if you are, in coming to a conclusion on this evening's event, and let you get back to your families. I see, Dan, you look like you have a bunch of little ones in your household, and Jerell, we hear yours, so.
Absolutely.
I actually have one, a 5-year-old who recently got sent home from school because of a COVID close contact.
Oh my.
Fortunately, it was negative and back in school, but she did some artwork while she was home, so she keeps it fresh.
Yeah, well, she's quite good.
We're very big into bears and lions right now. I love bears.
I see
so
that.
lots of bears.
Oh, I love it. I love it. My son, Rebecca, and my son, Reed, is a graphic designer, and he's in his last year at Stout University.
Okay.
And he's really quite good himself. He's had opportunity to have some good challenges, like designing the logo materials on Firely's Lund's shopping bags, and he's won some scholarship money through those kinds of actions. And so we come from an artist family. We love that stuff in the background. Love to see it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I'm not seeing any other individuals that are signing in at this time. So because we are at this stage in our conversation, unless you have some more new information that you'd like to provide us, I believe we can call this an evening, gentlemen.
All right. Well, thank you
just
for the
wanna
opportunity to join you.
I want to add one more thing, Russ.
Absolutely.
That's a referral program that we have at All Energy Solar. So even for people that don't have solar or don't go solar themselves, if they kind of spread the word and refer out, that can actually put money in their pocket as well. So by just, me as a sales consultant sitting down with somebody that, for instance, if you referred, that would give you a $25 gift card. And if they ended up purchasing a system with us, then you would get a $500 check after the installation. So All Energy has a referral program that can put money in people's pockets that would kind of be solar ambassadors, if you will.
It's a
Very
great
important information.
opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for that.
You as well. Well, thank you guys all for
Thank you.
showing up. This was very good for this experience. And Sean, of course, is just very, very much on the cutting edge of this and has remained so for all of the years that I've known him, which is about 20 now. So very sharp individual. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you, Russell.
Thanks, Russell. I'll throw the link up to that solar rewards program or solar ambassador program, our referral program up on the chat. If you just give me a second.
Oh,
Could I just get a clarifying question, actually, Jesse, there? As a neighborhood association, if we wanted to participate in that type of programming, there's a lot of single family homes within the Cedar Riverside, West Bank neighborhoods. Would that be something that on a nonprofit level we can participate in, or is that on an individual basis?
Well, you would sign up as an individual as a solar, I believe they call it a solar ambassador.
Solar ambassador.
So, by them spreading the word, they would take individual credit. I don't believe that, I don't know, maybe a nonprofit can sign up for that. I'm not sure on that. How about you, Dan?
AJ, let me follow up on that, because I've actually, I've had that thought with some other organizations we support. So I needed to get an answer on that anyhow. So let me find out for you, and I'll follow up with you. I've got your email as well, so I'll drop.
Yeah, that would be really, and we're a neighborhood association, so we really deal with, residents' issues, and we're an advocacy group at the same time. So
yep.
That would be something that I would love to actually participate in, just to get the word out more for residents.
Yep, absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
You have a great night, everybody. Yep. Happy holidays.
Thank you much.